Was good, y'all? Red Sosa back in the building with another banger, man. Now, first things first, before we go ahead and get started, thank you, God, for another day and another opportunity. Shout out to all my brothers and sisters, a part of the Rich family. I'm going to be bringing y'all the top 3 best Rebirth builds for 2K22 on next gen. But before that, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Go ahead and turn on post notifications to be a part of the Rich family. And let's go ahead and reach 50 likes on today's video. So coming up with the first build, these are all going to be glitched builds. So what you want to go ahead and do, make the first build out of the metric system. Then we're going to go ahead and carry over the same exact attributes over to a taller height out of the imperial system. So as long as you copied everything that I just showed y'all when it comes down to the metric system and the measurements, go ahead and do so. Create the build. Right here we did come out with a 510 scoring machine. Now what we're going to go ahead and do from here is go back and really edit the exact same build that we just created out of the metric system. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and get different measurements. I'm going to go with the height of 6'7", 180 for the weight, and a 6'9" wingspan. Now some of you might be asking, as for the beginning setup of this build, are those attributes going to matter? And the answer to that is no. So all you need to do is make that build with the exact measurements that I had on the screen. Then when it comes down to creating it, go into your settings. Then from your settings, change your units of measurements from the imperial back to the metric, or the metric back to the imperial. Now, if you made it to this point of the video, all you need to make sure is that for all 3 of these builds, go and make sure that you're making it first out of the metric system. Get the measurements that I just showed y'all. Then from there, switch your settings to the units of measurement into the imperial system. Now this is what we're working with right now. We're going to be able to get a total of 14 badges for the finishing, 27 when it comes down to the shooting. Then for the playmaking, we get 29 here, and I feel like this is going to be the best way to go about it. Now for the defensive end, you can make your own adjustments as we go through, but I'm telling you, for my liking, I'm going to go with the 60 interior. Then for the perimeter, 88, 90 for the steal, 71 block, and then for the rebounding, I'm going to go with the 71 for the defensive, but a 41 for the offensive, for a total of 22 badges. Now, for the physicals, I'm going to go ahead and max out that speed. Then, with the acceleration, I'm going to go with an 81. And you can actually change any of the numbers towards this build if you want to adjust the vertical or even the stamina. Now, for my liking, I'm going to make sure that I go with at least a 70 to 75 vertical. Then for the stamina, anywhere to a 90 all the way up to a 95. Now this is pretty much what the build will be looking like. Going to be able to do a little bit of everything. But as for the takeovers, that's going to play the biggest factor in what boosts we're going to be able to get, especially when they're activated. But from this point on, if you want to make any adjustments, do it after we have gotten the build name together. Then from there, I promise you everything will work out as far as getting this glitched build. Now another thing to really consider, if we end up getting the same exact builder system for 2K23, these are going to be some of the best builds to start out with. Now whether or not you decide to make them glitched, that's all based off your own preference and what you want to risk. But remember, if you use these this year to end out, you get an extra 9 badges if you have grinded out each and every single season. Now I like the way that this build is looking, especially with the height of 6'7", still being able to get all of the pro dribble animations with that 87 ball handle. But as for the takeovers, we get the shot creating, then we get the sharpshooting, playmaking, as well as the lockdown defender. Now for my liking, I would go with limitless range first. Then for the second takeover, anything as long as it's based off your own playstyle. And as you can see, for the first best glitched build on this list, we were able to create the 2-way 3-point playmaker. Now, we have 2 more builds on this list. Now the second one that I'm going to be bringing to y'all will be more of a big man type build. And as y'all can see, out of the center position, we're going to be creating the glass cleaning lockdown. Now, there is also the same exact way that you have to go about the beginning setup for this build as well. So what we're going to go ahead and do is first create a build out of the metric system. Now, I did already explain how to get the units of measurements changed back and forth to the imperial and metric system. So let's go ahead and start out with the metric. Then from here, we're really carrying over the stats as well as the attributes over to a build that's going to be a little bit taller. Now let's go ahead and get started. Make it out of the center position. Height 2.07 meters, 97 kilograms for the weight, and a wingspan of 2.34. Now, if you want to, remember, you can make any adjustments towards this build, but I would highly recommend doing it after we create it together. So for this first one, we did get an interior finisher. That's not going to matter. What we're going to go ahead and do is go into the settings, change the measurements, and now let's go back into that exact build that we just created. Right here, you're going to get different measurements. So if you want to, I'm going to go with the height of 7 feet exactly. Weight 215, then the wingspan will be 710. Now we're going to be able to get certain thresholds for our attributes unlocked as if we were a smaller build. Now for this one, we are 2 inches taller, but we have to go ahead and glitch it twice in order to actually carry over even more stats. So right here, we're going to go back into the settings as well. Then right here, you're going to make one more change from the units of measurements. And right here, we are back into the metric system. Now, 2.13 when it comes down to the height, but we're going to go ahead and adjust that to 210. Now for the wingspan, I'm going to leave this at 2.34, 97 kilograms for the weight, and for the body shape, what I like, that's going to be built. But now from here, let's go ahead and take it a little bit further. This is where we're actually going to go ahead and start making this build. So for the finishing, I'm going to go with a close shot of an 80. Same thing for that driving layup. Then for the driving dunk, I'm going to go with an 84. 90 for the standing dunk, and right here, we get a total of 25 finishing badges. Now for the shooting, I'm going to go with an 80 for the mid-range, max out that three-pointer, go with the 70 for the free throw, and that's going to be a pretty solid mark for this build. 21 shooting badges, and really consider all of the things that we take with this build. We're getting attributes from a smaller height thrown into a taller build. That's going to make it super overpowered, but for the playmaking, I'm going to go with my pass accuracy being a 77. I did want to go ahead and unlock bullet passer, but you can go with 77 or even 76. Now the fact that we're going to be able to get anywhere from 18 all the way up to 20 playmaking badges really makes this build super unique. Now for the defensive end, I'm going to go with an 80 for the interior defense. Then for the perimeter, go with the 75. The steal, this is really an important part of this build, so I'm going to go with the 72. Now the block, if you want to, you can go with the 99. I'm going to go with the 97, and then for the rebounding. Offensive will be in 83. 91 for the defensive. Now let's go ahead and get into the physicals. I'm going to go with a 74 for my speed. Max out the acceleration. Now when it comes to the vertical, if you want to make your own adjustments towards this area, I would go anywhere from a 70 all the way up to a 75. Then for the stamina, I'm going to be happy anywhere from an 80 all the way maxed out to a 99. Now the strength, I'm not going to worry about it too much, but as long as we're able to maintain anywhere from 30 to 25 defensive badges, 15 and up for the playmaking. I'm glad that we get over 20 for both the finishing as well as the shooting. Now, the only thing that we really need to take into consideration will be the takeovers that we unlock. Because once activated, both of them, if we pick 2 separate ones, will give us a plus 10. Now right here, we obviously do get the rim protecting, but if you want to, we already do have that 97 block, so you can make any adjustment, and really, if you wanted to, you can buy boost, and that right there alone will give you a 99 block without that takeover being activated. So for my liking, I would really even consider the playmaking to speed boost as well as break ankles, or even the sharpshooting to hit from deep. Now for mine, I would have to say, if I'm going to go ahead and have a teammate with this build, I would go with first, limitless range takeover. Secondly, stuff blocks is okay, but since we do already have a 99 overall, I would have to say glass cleaning takeover would be the wave, or team takeover boost. And as y'all can see, at number 2, we have created the glass cleaning lockdown glitched build. Now we have one final build remaining on this list, another glitched one as well. And as y'all can see, coming up at number 3, we're going to be creating the best two-way pass first guard. Now the same thing as far as for the setup is going to apply as the same as it did for the previous two builds. So those of y'all who did make it to this part of the video, what I want y'all to do is comment down below right now. Where are you tuning in from watching today? I'm coming out of Cali, California to be more exact, so I would love to know where you are coming from as well. But let's go ahead and get started. So we have to remember, with this build, we're going to make it out of the shooting guard position, but we're going to start with the Imperial system. Now, that's going to give us the numbers of 6'3" for the height, 7 feet for the wingspan. Then, when it comes down to the weight, I'm going to go with 220. Now, right here, I'm pretty much going to go ahead and max out any area. It does not matter as long as you copy exactly how I'm bringing it to y'all. So the first thing that I did was max out all the finishing, max out the shooting, max out the playmaking. We're really trying to just go ahead and get to a 99 overall. So that way we are able to carry certain attributes over to a taller height. So I'm going to go ahead and skip the takeovers. Right here, we make an offensive threat. And at this point is where we're going to go ahead and go to the main menu. Then from there, get into the settings, and we're going to change it from the units of measurements to be into the imperial back to the metric. So right here, we're going to go ahead and create the same exact build. Now all we need to do is edit over the same exact build that we just created. So I'm going to go over the offensive threat. Right next to it is the actual build that we're going to be creating. Then from here, the measurements will be a little bit different. So I'm going to go with the height of 2.05 meters. Then for the weight, 85 kilograms, and the wingspan will be 2.31 meters. Now the body shape I'm going to go with will be built, and if you want to go ahead and change this to anything else, go ahead and make sure you do it after we get the actual build name together. So as for the finishing, we're going to be able to get all of the elite contact dunks, 14 total badges. Now for the shooting, go with an 80 for the mid-range shot, max out that three-pointer. Then right here, I'm going to bring the free throw up to an 85. That's going to give us a total of 22 badges. Now, for the playmaking, I'm going to go with a pass accuracy of an 85. 75 for the ball handle, max out the speed with ball. Right there we get 24 badges. As for the defensive area, you can go ahead and get anywhere from 17 all the way up to 29 or even 30 defensive badges. Now, I'm going to max up my speed and acceleration, go with an 85 vertical and a 99 stamina to wrap it up. Now the biggest thing about this build will be the plus 10 that we get from 2 separate takeovers. Now the main thing to consider with these builds is the extra 9 badges that we potentially do have to unlock from each season. Now if you want to, the badges are super solid, so you can go about the badge count to your own liking, but for mine, I would have to say this is going to be the best way to go about it. Now let's go ahead and get into the takeovers. We get the glass cleaning, lockdown, playmaking, as well as the slashing. Now whichever ones that you decide to go with, make sure it's all based to your own playstyle, but for my liking, I would really consider the glass cleaning as well as the playmaking to speed boost and break ankles. Now let's check out the build, and we have created the two-way glitched pass first guard. Now those of y'all who made it to this point, thank y'all for the support, and y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new, turn on post notifications to be a part of the Rich family, and let's go ahead and reach 50 likes on today's video. Thank y'all again for the support. Shout out to the Rich family. Thank you God for another day and opportunity. And with all that being said, I got one last thing to say. Rich out.